It looks like there is a lot of uncertainty around you and me as an investor in XRP. But what I will show you here will give you more information about what is about to happen. You can easily look at what is happening now and then turn around, look back and see that everything is slowly happening and slowly lining up. Then why should you consider this? Because it is highlighted by status here that Steve Jobs once stated this: you can't connect dots looking forward, you need to look back. That will give you some answers. And kind of guys who are bashing dot connectors or trying to give information so that you will get that holistic picture can be moved aside. Don't listen to them. Now it's up to you if you want to listen to them. But still, this is the words of Steve Jobs. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. If you saw value for your time, please do support the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. If you would like to extend your support, you can use PayPal, Patreon or the XRP wallet address given in the description below. Patreon will allow you to unlock more value for your portfolio with different assets than XRP. I regularly post charts, setups and all for different assets in crypto and outside. Now, let's look at what really is happening now, right? If you look around and see things really happening, it looks like, yes, there is a little bit more traction towards the approval, banking side, regulations and all. But you really have to look a little bit back to see how central banks were taking this approach. Now, just after the talks with Ripple executives, central bank kind of looks at central bank digital currency. Then if you look at this one, yeah, this is old, but that's how you connect or at least think about what really is happening. That's how you know the background, right? Bank of France highlights Ripple's blockchain for central bank digital currency. And then you remember the talk about financial inclusion, which is being highlighted by giant institutions like IMF, BIS, and even now here, MasterCard. So they are not looking at Bitcoin. Why? Because it's too volatile and lacks transparency. So if you need an asset which is transparent, where will you go? Direction is pretty much easy, right? You saw all of those. Now, I'll just take you guys through this document. It really is huge. And this is not an old one, it is actually a recent one. Now, from the same document, I would actually take you guys to some old documents which is issued by, say, Fed and then OCC to show you guys what really is happening, because those articles like these from OCC and this from Fed is being cited here. They are referencing that here, and how they are referencing or why they are referencing, let's dig through and understand what really is happening. So first, what I would do is, for the ease of understanding for you guys and me, for me to save my time, I'll put in digital assets so that it's easy for me to find these, because I actually went through the document and read it, but I forgot to note down the page numbers. Anyway, so in this one, when you talk about the assets, they are giving a clarification for a company named 2Ocean. And they are giving this with regard to digital assets, custody and qualified custodian status. Now, what does it actually mean for us? Now, remember, these are happening at a time when central banks are looking at central bank digital currency. Banks are trying to look at the area where they can act as digital asset custodians. Okay, now, if you look here, they were asking about how it can be in the state of Wyoming, right? Additionally, the division finds that 2Ocean may serve as a qualified custodian. This determination is based on what the facts they have actually given. So at the bottom, they states if there is any change in that fact, this can change. Okay, we understand that. But what does this actually mean? Whether this company is allowed to custody digital assets, including virtual assets and digital securities, that is tokenized securities. So this is kind of acting as a custodian, meaning it's something similar to that of banks in the new generation, in the new financial system. So division of banking authority, blah blah blah, we don't actually have to go through that. Instead we can jump directly towards this area, which talks about digital asset custodial service. Now this really means, it's kind of getting heat in the area of competition for digital assets custody. It's not only Buck, Fidelity and huge guys coming in like Nasdaq and all, ICE and all. It's others too, right? They are all jumping in because they understand that this is the future. The financial industry is changing and this is where the future profit would be. Now, custodial services typically include the settlement, safekeeping, reporting of customers' marketable securities and cash. And as you continue reading this, you kind of get the clear picture that they are talking about assets, including services for virtual currency. It's not only for digital securities and digital assets, it's also for virtual currency. Now, why am I highlighting virtual currency along with digital assets? Because they create a lot of opportunity, and in the document here which they are citing for hybrid assets, that is reference 22, you can see that reference 22 here is cited as this particular thing, and that's opened here, right? And in this article too, when you go deep, you're going to get a lot more information. Say for example, they are talking about certain type of digital assets that serve as a medium of exchange. You have to understand, a medium of exchange, colloquially known as virtual currencies. So don't be colloquial, you just think it is a medium of exchange, isn't it? Right? I'm talking about XRP. So it's kind of clear that they are looking at it, and it's not kind of something new for us because we already understand that that is the truth. Now, when you come to this part of this document and read this, regulatory oversight of exchanges offering derivative products on certain digital assets, and they give you a citation. Now, when you go into that citation, you kind of see they are talking about just Bitcoin, because at that time, the clarity was provided for Bitcoin and Ether only. So they are not actually highlighting XRP or any other assets. So there is a little bit of confusion there. But you move in the same document, try to understand what they are actually trying to say, and then you reach this paragraph, they kind of clearly highlights it as it applies to digital assets that serve as a medium of exchange, and then its exception remains separate and a distinction from application of swap definition. Now if you have a doubt about swap definition, come to the bottom, look at the reference there. It is talking about CFDs as swaps, so they are not talking about you owning real assets. So you can either do trading in a contract for difference, CFD, or you can trade the actual asset, right? It's up to you. You can use a leveraged product, or you can just invest in that asset. So that is a difference there. Now, as you move down in the same, you get to see this one again, regulatory oversight of exchanges offering derivative products on digital assets again. So you are watching the regulatory clarity coming out for digital assets, which can be named as virtual currencies, and it serves as a medium of exchange. So in the same document, as you move forward, you are able to see different areas where they highlight virtual currency exchanges or execution service providers, how they should look into virtual currency transaction. Now all of this, now yes, if you go through the document, you are going to get a lot more, and you will understand that the regulatory side is slowly coming outside, right? So they are saying that they are working on this one. Where are they saying? If you come back to the first document, which is the newest one, the division is finalizing development of comprehensive regulatory and supervisory framework to ensure the safety and soundness of digital asset activities conducted by banks and trust companies. So who is saying that they are finalizing this? Go to the top, you can see the state of Wyoming Department of Audit. So the division for banking from state of Wyoming is really working deep into this one. They are at the final stages of providing that comprehensive regulatory clarity for this. So now with that talk of Ripple moving to another nation, I can say if a state within US is coming out with this kind of clarity, soon then I don't think they'll have to leave US. They can just change their domestic region from San Francisco, move into Wyoming, settle there. That should be much better for them because they are already in US and there will still be a US company, right? So as you move further in the same document, if you would like to read through that, it gives you an idea that the regulators in US are slow. We kind of agree with that, but you have to understand they are working on this, right? Even though they are slow, they are working on this. Now when I say they are slow, I don't mean they're too slow. They are a little bit, or even say a medium term, they are slow. Why? Because if you look at things like this, like Steven highlighted this here, interesting, right? A lot of big banks are testing or at least playing with XRP. Now Citibank, ANZ, now these are giant institutions. They are not small banking institutions, and if they are working on this one, there is something happening in the background for this asset. But understand, financial industry takes a lot of time to change the status quo and move into a disruptive technology. But you can see like different banks are coming out stating they are going to go into central bank digital currencies. I actually saw a news in which it was highlighting that the Bank of Cambodia, Central Bank of Cambodia, is coming out with their own digital currency. So they are rolling that one out. I actually saw that news and I was really thinking, yes, if you are able to see something like this from different nations, say China is rolling out their central bank digital currency. Now Cambodia is coming out. Now this was actually retweeted by Cryptic Point, and then I retweeted from his tweet. So it kind of shows Cambodia officially launches digital currency backed by the central bank. Now something similar is happening in China, right? And then we saw news about Brazil talking about the same. Then we saw the news about France talking about the same. So everyone is working on this, and when you are looking at that, Bank of France is talking about Ripple's blockchain. Brazil central bank have a talk with Ripple's executive, and then they come out with opinion that yes, we are going to look at central bank digital currency. So what does that give you as an idea? Because the adoption is growing huge. Because this can be viewed as an adoption. Why? Because a British firm is opening physical crypto bank branch. It's a bank branch for physical crypto in India. You have to understand that means there is something happening in the background which we the common people don't understand right now about regulatory clarity, because these institutions won't put their money if they are not sure about something, because these would be millions in investments, right? And then this one, Ripple's South Korean customer, which is SenB, I usually used to refer to this particular example most of the time because I use that service, plans to global expansion, including North America. Now, they are expanding. Why? Because they started running on Ripple and they they kind of crushed their competition, and they are leading this market now, the remittance market from South Korea. And now they are expanding, meaning they are profitable, and they are profitable. Now, there's a lot of competition in the same region, you have to understand. Still, they are expanding, they are getting more competition. Still, they are making money with the partnership of Ripple. Now, think if they start to use on-demand liquidity, because when they are moving into new regions, like say North America, let it be America, let it be move into Mexico, Canada and all, you can argue that the on-demand liquidity corridors are kind of live in these areas, and it will be easy for these fintech companies to open up to new region without putting much more capital there. They don't have to put dormant capital to do these remittance, right? Now, as I told you, the debate of Ripple moving out is kind of heating up, and you can, kind of a guy came out and, he was like, we are not fleeing. Too many smart lawyers like you are left reading tea leaves. Now, that's kind of the response it should be given to Jake, because he here was kind of highlighting now they are fleeing this market because of the regulations, and they kind of bash the UK regulators, saying there is a lot of issues there too, there is no clarity. So it's like they highlight this, the FCA's categories didn't provide clarity, and they talked about the recent announcement of ban coming on for derivative products. Now, derivative products are not the direct product, right? You have to understand, if you are new to this market, if you are already experienced one and you know this, if you are new to this market, do think that it's CFD. It's not like the actual asset. You're betting on the asset outside, like a side bet. Think about a cricket match or a football match. You're watching it in the stands and you're betting like next 5 minutes this is going to happen, or at least in this match this is going to happen. That doesn't actually change anything in the game, right? It's just if your bet turn out to be true, you're going to make money or you're going to lose. It doesn't actually affect the real asset, right? So those kind of products are so volatile and it creates a lot of losers from the retail investing side, and that is the reason they are giving this clarity. And I think that is a huge step forward for taking guys directly into the actual assets instead of going for derivatives. Now, for me, that looks really positive. Now, when we talk about adoption, you also have to understand everyone is coming into this area. Why? Because they want to get that bank charter approval as the new financial system is emerging. We kind of showed you the regulatory clarity is slowly coming up. The regulators from Wyoming is stating they are finalizing. So, looking at the same thing at a time when banks, central banks are printing out like they really have a too much diarrhea. I can't put a different word for this because they are printing like crazy. And if you remember this tweet from Trump back in 2011, he kind of highlighted, if you are going to print like this, we're going to reach a record level of inflation. And now he is in the office and the Fed is pushing as much as cash into the economy as possible. Now we are looking at what? A huge inflation rate and the reduction of purchasing power of dollar. So while considering that aspect, technical analysts are pointing towards a break to the upside and a huge move to the upside. So to check that on a shorter time frame, this is what I got. I don't actually see that huge breakout on a shorter time frame, but yes, as I showed in the last video, on a longer time frame, say when you are looking at last 470 days, last 500 days, it is showing you that we are going to get a break to the upside, reach around 0.331, flirt with that level, and then break that level and move towards 0.6, 0.7. I do agree with that perspective, but on a shorter time frame, we just got a break to the downside. Now, unless buyers come in at this support level and push back the price to this trading range, we're going to go towards 0.23. Now, this is on a shorter time frame, and as I showed you in last video, directly from Howard Marks, if you do understand the value, you will hold on that asset when it is volatile, going up and down, because you know ultimately the value of this asset is going to be reflected in the price. Now, the time taken for that, no one understands that. I don't know, you don't know, but it will reflect, and the patience, level of patience which you have would be something responsible for giving you that huge profit at the end of the day. Now, Uphold was highlighting this. They are halting multiple currencies trading. So looking at that one, right? Because whenever the market is having some issues, they are coming out with this. When you are watching tweets like this from Trump, I just highlighted that previously, right? They're talking about record inflation. Now, we are looking at different nations going on for a next set of lockdown to combat this health crisis. So they are going to push the economy to another area, which is even unbelievable. Say this from UK surprised me. Police will enter homes and break up Christmas dinners if families break down lockdown rules. Wow, great, huh? What a democratic country we are looking at. So in the name of health crisis, you're going to give up your privacy. You're going to give up anything. They can come in, look at your bedroom. So that's cool. Nice democracy. Anyway, that's just my perspective laid out there. Now, this is a quite interesting read put out by Ripple in Ripple's Insight. Beyond proof of work, the XRP ledger consensus solution. Now, go into this one, and as we just came through this regulatory clarity and this particular file, which clearly highlights digital assets, virtual currency, which can be used as a medium of exchange, and other virtual type of tokens. read that, understand that, and then come here. And for me, this really was surprising because they were talking about public blockchains and how they work, because we previously saw the statement from IMF report clarifying that, right? So here XRP ledger has a fundamentally different design from POW works like Bitcoin, Ethereum. Consensus validation system gives them the robustness to cover all possible issues as they are running successful till now. You have to understand, they have closed 58 million ledgers and there has been no issue. So the reliability of this network is way higher than others, of which they are now looking at. They are talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and they are talking about payments, right? A medium of exchange. But the reality is much huge. When they talk about financial inclusion, climate change and all, we are going to end up with this perspective laid out by Ripple. And when they are laying this one out, right now they are getting attention. Now decide what you are going to do. Looking at the price in a shorter term and saying, no, it's going down, or looking at the actual value of the asset, which is going up at a time when the price is too low, when you can accumulate. Now that's decision, ultimate decision lies with you. Guys, I hope you received value for this content, and if you did, please do hit that like and subscribe button. If you would like to extend your support, you can use PayPal, Patreon, or the XRP wallet address given in the description below. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.